it's important and why you want to know how to do that. So we have several of our staff members here with us today. We have Mrs. Lauren Cole, who'll be hopping on in just a minute to tell us some things. And we've got a couple of our interns as well, Bethany, Erica, and Steve. So if you guys have questions, just write them in the chat box and one of us will be able to answer those for you. Feel free, you can unmute yourself or show your face if you want to do it that way, and that will work as well. I think I'm admitting a few people in. We also are recording this, so I just want you to keep that in mind. We will have this saved and uploaded on our YouTube page along with our resume workshop from last week. So just give us a little bit to get those downloaded and we will get those put up there for you guys. But today we're going to dive in and start talking about researching companies. So again, type your questions as you have them. This is going to be a more interactive session, so we really want to know what you guys need help with and how we can help you get prepared for the fair. So I will turn it over to Ms. Cole now.
All right, everybody. So thank you for joining us. As Ms. Reese said, we are recording this session. We will have this session and our last session that we did on resumes on our YouTube page, and there are a lot of other resources on our YouTube page, Troy U Career, so check that out. And I am going to share my screen. Let's see. I think I know how. We had this problem last time, didn't we? Okay, here we go. Okay. I might have to call in some backup.
I think if you click the one with the arrow, it says open share tray, click that, but then make sure you click where it says desktop so you're sharing everything.
Yeah, it's like it's stuck. Okay. Emily, can you go ahead and talk about why we do this, and then I will get into the nuts and bolts of how to do that. So go ahead.
Of course. So a couple notes I had written down for you guys. First of all, it's good that you're already here kind of thinking about how do I research and why is that important. So whenever you're going to a career fair, even though it's virtual, it's really your job as students to already know about the company. You don't want to walk up to someone, or in this case, drop in the chat box and say, "Hi, what do you do?" Because all of these things can be seen online. They can be seen on the company's website. And so really it's up to you to spend some time doing some of that researching, and you bring the questions, introduce yourself, bring those questions to ask the employers as well. So as you're thinking about that, kind of think about why it's important to research. And so there's a couple of different ways that you can do that. Mrs. Cole is going to show you how to do it in Handshake, so you can actually see the employers who are registered and attending our fair. It's going to show you everything from the majors that they're looking for to what work authorization you have to if they're actually hiring right now and what their website is. And so that's a great way to get started on the basics. And she'll go over kind of the how-tos and the nuts and bolts of that in a minute. But we also want you to think about going outside of just Handshake or just the company's website. So a couple other things that you'll want to make sure you're doing is exploring their website, learning about their motto and their mission statement. Those are things that you can make questions from and really interact with the company. So make sure that you're utilizing those. And then a big thing is really social media. So I feel like in the past we used to always say, don't use social media, but now it's so common. Every company and every organization is usually going to have some sort of media presence. And so really use that to your advantage. Look at their Facebook page. What are they posting pictures of? What kind of events are they holding? Look at Twitter, see what they're tweeting about, what are some of the trends and the articles that they're sharing. You can really get a feel for the culture of the company as well when you're doing this, because you can see what's important to them. Other kind of websites to look at would be something like LinkedIn, which if you're not familiar with that, I would definitely suggest that you check it out. It's more of your professional networking kind of social media side of things, where you can actually set up your profile and upload your resume and really interact with people who are hiring in that field. So if you're interested in a certain company, make sure you're checking all of those pages. You're looking at their LinkedIn, and you're seeing who works for them, and you're trying to log in and make connections in that way, and saying, don't know, seeing if you can kind of connect with who the hiring manager might be or someone in that field. Let me see if I can let Miss Lauren share the screen. I might have to just share it, Lauren, because I don't see.
That's what happened last time. I'm not sure, but yeah, if you'll just, Emily, if you'll walk to, if you want to finish up what you're saying, if you'll walk to our Handshake site. So as she does that, what I kind of want to tell you guys about is, if you've heard of Handshake at all, that is just our website that we share with other universities, employers. We pay to have a membership with Handshake, and we any job postings, any at all that come to us that are internships, job postings, employers that want to recruit you guys to work with them, that's where we put them. So we put them in Handshake. And then that is also our kind of our hub for where we hold employer registrations for career fairs, virtual career fairs, in-person career fairs. It's probably where you signed up for today's workshop and webinar. So you can see various workshops that are coming up that you can schedule for in Handshake. But what's cool about that is, and Em, are you able to share your screen?
Yes, I'm working on it.
Okay. All right. So what's cool is, once we log into Handshake, what you're going to see is just that home page. So, well, let me back up. If you've never logged into Handshake before, you're going to feel like, why is this website asking me all these questions? It will only do that the very first time you log in. So don't worry. Okay. So Emily has already, Miss Reese has already filled out her profile. So it's not asking her those again. The reason it asks you those profile questions is just because it will use, the smart technology to filter job postings that are meant for you, that are your major or the location you're interested in living in, or whatever the criteria is that you put in your profile settings. So you're going to want to fill that out the first time if you don't mind. And again, it won't ask you again in the future. But so what we're looking at here is the main homepage for us. So you'll look up there at the top. It's troy.joinhandshake.com. You can get there directly by typing that in your browser. You can go to our website on the my.troy website for career services. You can find the Handshake logo right there in the middle of the page. So that's actually one way you can get there as well. But so we've gotten there. We've put in just your regular old Troy email address and password. So no new passwords to remember, any of that. You just use your Troy credentials and you log in. And this is the first thing you'll see. So let me just touch on a couple of things before we jump into those employers. So on this front page, if you are just looking for jobs, then of course go to the jobs tab, right? Look for jobs and internships. You can search by different criteria, your major, all of the things we mentioned earlier. To the far right, you will see our Career Center. That is where you can make appointments with us. You can see specific events that are related just to our office. And then we're going to look at the events page, which is where this career fair is listed that we've talked about. So again, when you see that Career Center tab there in the middle to the far right, that's going to be anything specifically hosted by our office. When you go to the events tab, like Miss Reese just did, this is the cool thing about Handshake. So it is not just events that we are able to put on. We try to have several events that put you in front of employers, whether it's face-to-face or virtually. But being a part of the Handshake network, there are probably 20, 25 events going on right now this semester that are going to be listed here. So feel free to take part in those. We really encourage that because we can't host everything. So scroll through that. But so, Miss Reese, what you want to do is you'll want to scroll down. And if you see any, like, here we go. Here's our workshop from today. So you'll see that. If you are interested in that or another one coming up, and if you want to keep going, Emily, then we'll do a little flag check mark beside where we want to go. So keep scrolling. And this is all stuff you guys, I mean, look, Target's hiring, all kind of people are hiring, Peace Corps. Go up one real quick. and you're going to see our next webinar. So our webinar coming up in a week is going to be Explore and Navigating the Event. So Emily, if you want to do that little flag there beside the event, that will save it for you, okay? So if you want to scroll back up to the top, keep going, yep. Right at the top, there's a sub menu under Events. You're going to want to click the Career Fair tab there. Okay, so this is going to list any career fairs that we have coming up. So on occasion, in kind of a normal non-2020 semester, we offer things like a business career fair. We offer an education career. There are certain semesters we do a computer science and math career fair. So you will see some specialized career fairs from us. But this semester, we know virtual is the best way. So we are doing this 2020 virtual career fair. So you can click on that, Emily, and you can see she selected the flag beside it. Honestly, the best thing about that is that when you log in next time, this will be at the top of your list, and actually it'll be under your schedule if you see that on the right. And that's nice when you're looking at all those events, because it keeps those to the right under your schedule instead of having to search and search and search every time. Okay, so we're going to click on the virtual career fair. Okay, so Miss Reese hasn't registered yet, so she is actually going to click the register button right there. All right, you're registered. What's next? All right, so we're going to, do you want to go through that first, Emily, or do you want to look at the specific employers?
Either we can go this way right now.
Okay, let's go ahead and do that. So view employer sessions. So what I want you guys to realize right now, and it will ask you some authorization questions. So let's just put yes there. If you are an international student on any kind of a visa, say you're F1 or J1, or you're getting ready to graduate and you are going to do some OPT work, then this just helps the employer know your status, okay? So it doesn't automatically count you out or in of anything or any job postings based on your status. That just helps the employer know, because we ask employers to try to recruit every student, but it's up to them whether they hire extended visas and work visas for international students. So here we go. We can see that we have these employers that are listed. So as you scroll down, Emily can scroll through them. We've got close to 40 employers, and you're going to see kind of some interesting names that pop out. This one's kind of interesting, Emily, if you want to slow down on it. So this Barrios Technology, if you want to look into the description there, they're headquartered out of Houston, but they are in conjunction with the Marshall Space Flight Center in Huntsville. So you are going to see everything from, we just passed one that was Alpha Insurance, although I think they're hiring more on the technology side. Just if you want to keep scrolling, Emily, there's going to be just a host of different employers. The city of Phoenix City, they are going to be hiring kind of anything, right? So conservation, you're going to have employers that are recruiting more on your sciences, freshwater, Department of Conservation and Natural Resources. So let's actually look at this one real quick, Emily. So we are going to go even deeper into how to navigate the fair itself, the day, like how you'll do it the day of the fair. That will be our next session next Wednesday. So if you want to really do a deep dive on the group sessions versus the one-on-one sessions and what that means and what do I do the day of, then you'll want to come back next week. But right here, we're just going to kind of give you an overview and show you. The Department of Conservation and Natural Resources has done exactly what we've asked them to do. So they have registered for our fair, but they have also set up you'll see their group sessions and their one-on-one sessions. So what does that mean? Well, when you are a student and you go in just like this, you can actually click on any group sessions you're interested in or one-on-ones and sign up for those. So Emily can click on that group session, and what a group session is up to 20 students can be in this group session, and they are just going to tell you about their opportunities. Okay. So you might not do a lot of talking in this session. I'm sure they'll open it up and let you ask some questions, but it's only 30 minutes long, and it's for groups of students. So this is not a one-on-one, but if you wanted to confirm that session, then you could do that. And the beauty of that is the employer who is coming on here periodically every week or so and checking out what students have signed up for my sessions, they can already see your name. If you have your resume uploaded in Handshake, then they can even look for it in there and go ahead and view your qualifications, and might be already emailing you even ahead of the fair. But a group session is where you can sign up for that here, and you can close out of that, Emily. And then you'll see one-on-one sessions. That is, honestly, I would recommend you guys do both. Sign up for a group session so that you hear the overview. What are they offering? What do they do? What type of majors are they recruiting? And then go ahead and jump in a one-on-one spot. Now, don't be nervous. These are only, as you can see, 10 minutes long. So they are quick. In a lot of ways, we're going to talk about this in our very last prep session for these workshops, but you have to be ready. You have to be able to communicate your skills concisely, adequately, but kind of in an exciting way so that they're interested in you. Because this isn't a full-blown interview. As we can see, it's only a 10-minute spot. But this is your opportunity to get in front of these employers. So if you think about the traditional career fair, you walk in the room, there are booths and, 100 employers. Well, maybe you got 10 minutes, maybe you only got 5 minutes most of the time when you walked up to a table. Well, it's the same concept. With COVID, we're not able to be face-to-face, so we want to offer this for you guys to still have it. So you got to be prepared, you've got to be ready, you've got to be professional, but don't miss really kind of the meat of this opportunity is getting one of those one-on-ones. And honestly, tailor your sessions, try to focus your time on those you're most interested in, but do as many as you can. It does not hurt to apply for a time so that you get the interview experience. You get the opportunity to practice your communication and what you're good at. And then who knows, the Department of Conservation and Natural Resources, yes, they might be hiring some social science or whatever degrees, agriculture degrees, but they also might be looking for somebody in the front office or the back office where they are hiring business majors, or maybe they're hiring somebody in technology to run GIS systems. So you never know what these employers are looking for. So you can close out of that. And I'll mention, she just closed it. You don't have to go back. But there is a little link at the bottom that says show all available times. This fair is 3 hours. So it didn't quite show you every 10-minute block. So if you need a later time, then you can do show more times to see. So let's keep scrolling down a little bit. And let's stop right here. So Draft and Tucker, a well-known name. So you might want to look into this. This is an accounting firm out of Atlanta. So if you are interested in the Atlanta area, and yes, you should be in the accounting, arena. But if you will look, they've chosen not to do group sessions. And honestly, we are still asking these employers to sign up for more sessions. So they may add a group session. But your opportunity to get in front of an Atlanta employer is right here. So there's the one-on-one. So you can keep scrolling. Okay, let's look at this next one. You guys are probably familiar with Enterprise Holdings. If you're not, like it says, they're a car rental agency, and man, they hire a lot of our Troy grads. They are a really good organization to get your foot in the door and make a career with them, because they advance internally very often. They like to advance their own people, but maybe you need a year to 2 years of experience on your resume, because every job you look at says you've got to have full-time experience. Well, these are the types of employers that you can do that with. But you'll see that it says employer has no sessions available. So don't fret. We are still, some of these employers registered for the fair, but have not done the extra step of signing up for the sessions. So we are trying to get on top of that and get to those employers to convince them to let their sessions, their one-on-one and their group sessions, be registered for. So keep checking back to add more one-on-one and group sessions, because you'll see some of that. So if you just want to scroll a little bit more, you can see that that happens in some. And here's a Department of Juvenile Justice. So if you guys were in CJ and criminal justice at all, this could be a good one. You're going to see a couple of them. Lakeview Center, there's a few others later that are actually in clinical mental health, counseling, human services. Then you're going to see several too, this Lighthouse property, some of them that are risk management, insurance, but a lot of those companies, because you may have a global business degree, even if you're not specifically RMI, would be interested in you. So just really take the time to scroll through these. And Miss Emily is going to kind of touch on a little bit more, or I can. You need to know what they do, like at least in your 10-minute conversation, your one-on-one with them, be able to recall, like, let's look right there at the Peace Corps. If you're interested in a life of service or just a couple of years out of undergrad or graduate school in service, and you want to be a volunteer in the Peace Corps, that is a job though. Then you really need to have a little bit of a grasp of what they do. So read these paragraphs well. No, you don't have to be an expert in the company. Like, don't get us wrong. But one of the number one reactions we hear from employers at traditional career fairs is they are drawn to students who walk up and say, I'm so-and-so, nice to meet you. My major is this. I've heard of the Peace Corps. I realize that you guys are in countries, you can probably find it on their website, in 40 countries around the world, and you work with agriculture and education. If you can do a little fact dropping as you talk to these employers, they are so impressed. The average student tends to approach an employer and say, hey, I'm so-and-so, my major's whatever. What do you do? And that doesn't leave a great impression. It kind of looks like you didn't take much time to figure out if you would even be interested in working with them at all. Like, do you even know what they do? And especially with a virtual career fair, this is the perfect way to, study ahead of time, but 30 minutes ahead of time, get on here, look them up, read their descriptions, hop on their website, and try to figure out what they do so that you can really tell if you're a fit. And if you think you're a fit for them, you've got to sell yourself and your skills and your abilities. So you can keep scrolling a little bit, if you want to. Let's see if there's anything else I need to point out to you guys. But the good thing about Handshake, do you want to keep scrolling down a little bit? So the good thing about Handshake is that you can see everybody that's coming. So that's really, really important. You want to know who is coming, because you've only got 3 hours or less if you even are able to attend that whole time. I understand some people have class, some people have jobs and other commitments. But if you can spend the 2 to 3 hours and filling up your one-on-ones and your group sessions, that's really, honestly, how people get jobs. That networking and that pre-planning and studying and researching is going to be the key to having a good interview and little 10-minute session with one of the employers. All right, so I'm going to jump over here and see if there's anything. Looks like we've had some questions that have been answered. If you have any other questions about the process, feel free to ask us questions about the employers themselves if you want to. But honestly, let's dig into Handshake first. Let's see what they offer. And then you actually can even go over. And so let's see, Emily. Let's see, we had somebody else's screen pop up. Uh-oh. All right, let me click right here. So what I would also like for you to do is click on the profile of the student. So when you are in Handshake and you're seeing all of the employers that are listed, I want you to go to their Handshake employer profile as well. And that way try to look at what they have currently posted in Handshake, because they actually post a lot of jobs in there. So you're going to want to know if Alpha Insurance, and by the way, they're a huge corporation. They hire a lot of other people other than just insurance RMI. So if you see them listed in Handshake, you're going to want to go to their Handshake page and see if there are any employers that are actually any jobs that they have listed there. So looks like you had a little technological. That's how these things go, y'all. We're sorry. That's about all I have. But what Emily is showing you here is if you want to click on their actual name, Emily, that will take you to their Handshake page, I believe. Oh, is it not doing it right there?
I think not right now because we're looking at sessions, but we should be able to do that on the main page. I can take them back there.
Okay. Yeah. If you just want to go back to that main page, and really, y'all, this isn't going to be a real long session. This is about the content of it, but it will make all the difference in the world. If you will spend some time looking up these employers about who is coming, and whoever you want to click on, it doesn't really matter. Geico. We'll click on Geico and you'll see the show all 38 employers. So that's a really good amount that will be available virtually. So this is their overview. It's going to be a similar overview that you saw, but what's cool is you can click on reviews. You can read a lot about them. Some of the highlights over here, that's a really interesting thing that you might want to do. And not every employer does this, but just a little secret trick. Sometimes they will purposely ask you in an interview or to vet people out on the front end information from their website that is super obvious. So if you haven't even clicked on their website to kind of see what they've got going on or what their biggest, market is, their customers, maybe their motto, their mission statement, if you kind of have an idea of that, sometimes they will ask you some kind of trick questions to see if you even know what they do. So spend some time on their Handshake page, their website, and finally, I would say their LinkedIn page. That is truly a resource that students don't use enough, especially in medium and large size companies. They use LinkedIn. I know you hear a lot about it and you're like, well, I don't really ever hear of anybody using it. But these recruiters that we talk to in these larger corporations truly use LinkedIn to recruit. So do not hesitate to reach out to a company representative through LinkedIn, or please, 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 if you talk to any employers and do a one-on-one session, they should be listed in Handshake. Through Handshake, send them a message, or in LinkedIn, or email them if you get their email, and thank them for their time and let them know that you really appreciate it. Okay.
So I think that covers kind of the bulk of what we wanted to talk to you guys about. I'll just kind of reiterate a few things that Ms. Lauren mentioned. And so again, you can view all of the employers attending. So you'll want to come down here and spend some time really looking at who the companies are. You can follow their pages. So if it's someone that you want to come back and look at again, you can definitely do that as well. And you can also see what they've told us that they're looking for. So do they have a certain classification? Are they looking for certain job titles or certain majors? And then what about, U.S. work authorization? So kind of looking through and making sure that if you are going to choose to do a group session or a one-on-one session with people with these companies, that you're choosing someone that actually relates to your major and who is looking for someone like you. So you definitely want to keep that in mind. It's okay to go in and have a good 10-minute conversation. I'm sure they could still appreciate that, but you don't want to take up their time when they've kind of set it up for students who are really interested in that area. So again, don't do like Ms. Cole said, where you hop in there and say, hi, what do you do? Have some more specific questions. Now, you might have questions about what they do, but you should at least know generally what you can read from this paragraph written in here and from what you gathered on their website. And you might want to go into more detail and say, okay, I see you do auditing. Can we talk about that and how your company handles it? Or whatever happens in some of these insurance sales, talk about, what they expect from a first-time employee. Do they have mentoring programs? What's your portfolio look like? So definitely touch on questions that you have, but make it seem well informed and that you've taken some time to put in the research. And so that's really important. So scroll through, look at all of these employers. One other thing I kind of want to mention is keep an open mind when you're going about this. So as you're kind of scrolling through, you might see company names that you've never heard of before, or some company names that are really popular. I think the positive of having a virtual career fair is we get to have the Geigos of the world come join us, where they may not, typically come to Troy, Alabama to visit our on-campus career fair. So scroll through and keep an open mind. If it has, your major, or they're looking for a job title that you've ever thought of, do some research on that company, read their description, look at their website, find them on social media, look for them on LinkedIn, and then just take the chance and have that 10-minute interview with them, where you really get the chance to ask them some questions and see if they would be a good fit for you. That's really kind of what you're doing now. Is this a company that I would want to work for? Do I want to apply for their job opening? Get some of your questions answered, and then learn how to follow up with them about some of the positions that they may offer. So, I encourage you to find somebody that you're not familiar with and do a little bit of research and get to know them, because sometimes that's where some of your greatest opportunities come from, is you just taking a chance on, a company that you found in Handshake. So I'm going to stop sharing the screen as long as we're good with that for now, and I can always come back to it if we need to. But we'll kind of take some questions from you guys. We've gone over a lot in what we expect, but if there's anything you need us to cover again, or I apologize, my technology kind of went out for a minute, so if we need to touch base on anything, just let us know. We'll be glad to answer any questions for you.
As you guys are thinking, go ahead and register for the career fair today if you haven't done so already in Handshake, and start checking back as often as possible. And just kind of expectations wise, I would really encourage you guys to turn your screens on during the career fair. We don't care about during this workshop, but during the career fair, I would dress professionally. I would be in a location that's quiet, and I would really try to connect with these employers. And if your screens are off, it's just not as personable, because I anticipate most, if not all, of the employers will have theirs on. Although some of the group sessions will be some chats and just chat, but there is the opportunity to turn your screen on a lot. So I would encourage you to do that. And you might think of a question.
And so then just to mention again what we already talked about, next week at the same time, so next Wednesday at 3 p.m., we'll have our third part to this series, and we'll talk more in detail about how to navigate the event and kind of explore the virtual fair. So we'll run through all of that again. Hopefully we'll have more employers signed up with their group sessions so you can really get a feel for that, and we'll kind of walk you through what to expect when you enter a chat or when you enter the group room. And then our final session will be September 23rd, and that's when we're kind of going to teach you how to practice your pitch, how to set up your environment, so that way you look approachable to employers and you can come off as impressive and prepared. All right, well, we'll kind of hang around if any more questions, but thank y'all for joining us, and we'll have these posted on our YouTube page hopefully by the end of the week.
All right, thanks everybody.